Hello, friends and fellow gamers. Welcome back to Speedrun Ragnarok 2022. I'll be your next host for this very run, Power Rangers. My name is Tempest Mask 1000. I hope you all are doing wonderful this day. It's a little bit of the evening over here, early morning, but I understand it's probably for some of you it's probably the afternoon. Well, whatever the case, we are raising money for Take This, and coming up right now is jquestionmark. So take it away, friend, and have fun.
Awesome, thank you. So we are here to play Mighty Morphin Power Rangers the movie on Game Gear, which is easily the best version of Power Rangers the movie, as you will see when we get later, and for those of you who remember the CG, even better than the movie itself. So I'm going to go ahead and first thing is first, I'm going to switch the mode to easy, because we were doing easy rainbow percent, and then I am ready to go whenever you are. Would you like a countdown?
Yeah, absolutely. Let's get that countdown going, shall we?
Awesome. 3, 2, 1, go. So we're going to skip all the story stuff, and you're going to see brief flashes of Zed and who we're going to be fighting. The important thing to note about this game is primarily that it's on the Game Gear. So there are only 2 buttons available. The very crafty people who made it realized they could effectively have a third button by having the person press the 2 buttons at the same time. So basic attack is punch with the first button, second is kick with the second button, and both at once is special, which is where all the cool moves happen. A lot of what makes this game fun is all the Rangers are very different, and unfortunately, there is one Ranger who is hands down the best in this version. It is Tommy, the White Ranger. For those familiar with fighting games, he deals chip damage with his basic special attack, so there's no reason to ever use any other Ranger, which is why we play Rainbow Percent. The rules for Rainbow Percent are simple. You beat the game, but you don't ever play Tommy, and you don't ever play Adam, the Black Ranger. Adam is very cool, but he is the primary Ranger used in the regular version of this speedrun. So I like to play modes that don't involve me playing the exact same thing over and over again. So all the colorful Rangers. Yeah, I know, rip Tommy. Tommy's really cool, but we gotta skip Adam. So we've already used the Pink Ranger, which is Kimberly. We are on the second set of Rangers. So for those who remember Jason and Zach and Trini, sadly they will not be appearing here. It's Rocky, Adam, and Aisha. They're all also very cool, and they were the ones in the movie. Now, for those of you who have watched the movie recently, you might be thinking, wow, I don't remember Beamcaster. They took some inspiration from the second season of the show, and included a couple of the Gosei Sentai Dai Ranger enemies. And I think that's one of the things that's really fun to talk about with the movie, is this movie branches 3 seasons of Super Sentai. So you have your Kyoryu Sentai Zu Ranger, which is the regular Power Rangers. You have their Zords that they're using, the T Megazord, for, short for the Megazord, or Thunder Megazord if you prefer. Oh, shoot. And you have the Zords that we'll have later on. I'll talk about them when we get to them, but they come from Ninja Sentai Kaku Ranger. So it's a lot of Rangers happening here. The order for the Rangers is primarily based on who is able to put out the most damage and get around attacks the most. So we use, or at least I use, obviously if anyone else were running this category, it might be a little different for them. But I start out with Kimberly, Pink Ranger. Her attacks are very cool, but don't deal a ton of damage. Same for the Blue Ranger, Billy. So we put them up against putties and relatively easy enemies. We save Trini for one of the trickier stages, and Jason for the Ooze Men, who are the worst. So a lot of this game, it plays like a fighting game, but also plays like a brawler. We get little minion enemies that we have to fight. And we eventually work our way up to the boss. So this stage's boss is Goldar. Ooh, not cool, buddy. And the idea is just make it through the enemies, make it through the boss, get to the Zord stage. Now the first game was very much enemies, Zord, so... Yes, the movie did have Rocky and Aisha. You are quite correct, Lady Starboard. I see people talking about Kaiju, which this is a great time, because these Zord fights are pretty no-brainer. I just use my dash attack, because it does 3 hits and does a ton of damage. We all know, and if we don't know, we should talk about how Power Rangers have Zords thanks to Spider-Man. Oh yeah, the music for this is just absolute bangers. There's not a whole lot of tracks, but they're all great. So it's now time for the Jaws of Destruction. Again, Season 2 of Power Rangers Gosei Sentai Die Ranger Enemy. Worth noting, the Putties and Lord Zed were an American creation, so there's no... sorry. Lord Zed's Putties with the Z on their chest were an American creation, so there is no direct analog in any of the Sentai series for these guys, which is pretty cool, I think. They made their own thing with it. So Aisha is gonna rock it out here. This section is wild, because with Tommy, you can hit them all as they're coming in, and if you space it and time it right, you don't ever have to fight any of them. Shoot. But I sure do. It doesn't work out quite the same with Aisha, sadly. There we go. Yeah, it's really just, you know, your standard brawler. Oh, we never finished talking about Spider-Man. So the first 2 Sentai series, which were not technically Super Sentai at the very beginning, were awesome, but they didn't have any giant robots. And the company who made them had a contract with Marvel. And so they spent a season doing Spider-Man, who of course had a spaceship that could transform into a giant robot, because we all remember that from our Spider-Man lore. That robot, named Leopardon, was very cool, but more importantly introduced the idea of giant robots. The kids loved it, the showrunners loved it, everybody loves giant robots. So when it came time to get back to Sentai, they gave them giant robots, and it became Super Sentai. Shoot. I was hoping that would hit, trying to get all fancy here. Well, it doesn't want me to hit with that super move. That's fine. So yes, for those of you who love Zords, please know Spider-Man is directly responsible. Jaws of Destruction, or the Jaws of D, which is definitely not anything inappropriate. Oh, I thought that might kill. Is a pretty cool enemy. I love their design. Here, they feel so out of place with the whole point being it being a movie. And I don't know how many people have watched the movie as recently as I have, but there's a whole other set of minions, the Tenga Men or Tengu Men, who don't even show up in this game. So we get 2 extra boss monsters, Beamcaster and Jaws of Destruction, but we don't get the Tenga Men who actually showed up in the movie. Oh, Ron Wasserman. Absolutely amazing. Alright, so now we are finally to Rocky. Honestly, it looks the same as Jason, but it's fine. So the Ooze-Men are the worst stage, and I apologize, because you're going to have to watch me fight Ooze-Man after Ooze-Man after Ooze-Man after Ooze-Man. And don't worry, they'll come in different ways, and their health bars will get bigger and make them take longer to fight. But fundamentally, the fight doesn't really change. They block a lot more than the putties do, so they take a minute. And it's interesting that we're fighting them here in the neighborhood, and that we spend so much time fighting them, because in the movie, they're an early on fight. Which, you know, not the first fight in the game, but okay, whatever. And the fight isn't that long. It's a cool sequence, but they don't drag it out. There's some other fun fights in the movie that I think would have been fun to adapt to the game, but honestly, the game plays really well. It's a really good follow-up to the original Game Gear Power Rangers, which is also a great time. Highly recommend. Yeah, the game, for those of you familiar with your fighting games, feels like Street Fighter but has inputs like Mortal Kombat, so all of the inputs are down, forward, and they are mercifully the same for every character. So down, forward, button, be that special or 1 or 2 punch or kick. I don't know why those all miss. I always thought the coolest Power Rangers toys were actually the movie toys that came out from McDonald's. They came with a little Zord they could ride in, and obviously the Zords couldn't combine into the Megazord, but it was still really cool. Alright, so that gets us through the first half, and now you would think, oh, we're gonna get Giant. No, we're gonna go to a different stage and fight more Oozmen with bigger health bars. So I hope you all really love watching these Oozmen. We've talked a bit about the different series these Rangers have come from, and I guess one thing I forgot to shout out is Tommy, the White Ranger, who, again, sadly, not using it all in this run, is also from Gosei Sentai Dai Ranger. And I love that his costume worked so well with the Zoryu Sentai Kaku Ranger. Or, sorry, Kyoryu Sentai Zyu Ranger. Getting my Sentais mixed up here. Oh yeah, every time you defeat one of these weak enemies, or even, oh, it's not in this game, but in the original Power Rangers on Game Gear, if you defeat Goldar prior to fighting a boss, sees the pre-boss, like, Mega Minion. You get a little bit of health back, so you don't just have to make it through the stage without ever getting touched, which is a great mercy.
Say, Jay, if I may, could I potentially come in with a donation read?
Please do. I could talk about Power Rangers all day, but if you've got some donations, I would love that.
Oh, don't worry. It's just a little donation that I'll make quick and get right back to it. But we did get a $250 donation from Wells, simply saying good luck, have fun, and at that we have hit at the current moment $1,856.28. We are very well nearing $2,000, so let's keep it up, everyone. I believe in you all. Thank you so much for your generosity, Wells. We appreciate it.
Amazing. Thank you, Wells. So, we are now into the final segment of the game, and we are sadly done using the Rangers. So that, for those recalling the movie, all their awesome adventures on that other planet, the stone monsters they fight, the ancient skeleton that wakes up and fights them for no clear reason. None of that here. It's just 3 fights against Ooze. You'll notice, though, we're in the Ninja MF Sword. MF, of course, as we all know, stands for Mega Falcon. So the Ninja Mega Falcon Sword. Ivan, now mad that we have beat up his Ooze Zord, has fused with it and gotten just unbelievably ugly. So we need to take him out, which is not usually too hard. This game actually gets really aggressive on higher difficulty levels, so even just when switching to normal, it suddenly gets really tough. And we are on already to the final fight. That's not how you want to start the final fight. So this is the only stage where it's like this, but the physics are different because we're on the moon. So all jumps are very high and very floaty and slow, and it's incredibly cool. But we only get to enjoy it for this singular fight. I mean, I guess it makes sense that there are no fights up here on foot. And time should be coming up in just a moment. As soon as Ivan touches down on ground, that is time. So that went really quick. I was honestly expecting to have a lot more trouble with the oozes. They usually block even more than that, so that was a wonderful time.
In case you're wondering what your final time is looking like, it's a 14:19 on our end. So
Awesome.
very nicely done.
Thank you.
Absolutely. This game is, I just got to say, as someone who has dabbled with a little bit of Game Gear stuff, this is pretty good. I think the developers of this did a wonderful job, and thank you very much for introducing it to me.
Yeah, thank you. It plays really well. The prior one is a bit longer, has more fights, more interesting Zords and characters. So, while I recommend both of them, honestly, I recommend both of them. Go pick them both up and play them if you can, because they are fantastic. And more importantly, for all of you watching, please go donate. Take this as an awesome cause, and I'd really love to see this marathon raise tons of money. So thank you all for watching, and thank you all for